在上期财经峰会上，我们从经济学家那里获得了2个信息：第一，在全球经济危机之下，亚洲不能独善其身；第二，不要再指望美国的消费者。那么这期财经峰会，我们将继续探讨这个话题。首先，让我们来听听韩国总理的看法。在这次达沃斯论坛上，主持人和韩国总理围绕金融危机的应对之策有了一段非常精彩的对话。
Prime Minister Han, let me ask you your lessons, because I'm struck by a certain irony. During the East Asian crisis, American policymakers, people from the IMF, went to East Asia, and as I recall, they had 3 pieces of advice. They said, you must not prop up your bad banks, because you also had a banking crisis. You must keep interest rates high, and you must not spend a lot of money, because that'll bust the budget. And when confronting our own crisis, the Western world, we have decided to bail out the banks, lower interest rates to 0, and spend vast amounts of money. Were we wrong then, or are we wrong now?
Well, Farid, Korea, as you said, went through financial crisis in 1997, 1998. Unlike Latin America, which has gone through many crises, Korea has gone only once. But I think Korea also has become an expert in dealing with financial crisis. As you said, the conditionality offered by the IMF at the time of crisis was very severe. Medicine was very bitter, but we took it. And we took it, to reconstruct, restructure the financial sector and corporate sector. And according to our experience, whatever measures we take, it has to be fast, decisive, and sufficient. And at the time of crisis, we spent, I think, around 15% of our GNP in restructuring the financial and corporate sector. And in the case of financial sector restructuring, we created Bad Bank in the name of KAMCO, Korea Asset Management Corporation, which dealt with bad debt or bad non-performing loans from the banking sector and relieved the banking sector of the toxic assets. And corporate sector also has to go through a very difficult time. But during this process, I think Korean economy has become much stronger. So year of the financial crisis in 1998, our economic growth was negative 6.9%, something like that. But next year, we have fully recovered.
But Prime
and
Minister,
we paid back the lending money to IMF 2 years ahead of the schedule.
But Prime Minister, is the lesson there then that Western countries should also take a little bit more pain, that is to force more restructuring? Right now what we're doing is an attempt at a kind of painless recovery, but the government is pouring huge amounts of money in, the Fed is taking on trillions of dollars on its balance sheet. Should we follow our own advice from 96, 97?
I think what you are doing now is also very painful to the people, because if we are spending public money, then that comes from the taxation. Therefore, whatever the government measures to reorganize the financial sector through the public spending, ultimately it will be very painful because people has to pay through taxes.
除了短期的救银行和财政刺激措施，很多人认为亚洲转变的关键是刺激内需。但是中国银行副行长朱民则认为，尽管刺激内需是必经之路，是正确的方向，但是这需要漫长的过程，而且不能以为中国增加内需可以拯救世界。
And I think this is the right direction, but obviously it will take a long time. And improve the income discrepancy, increase the low wage workers' compensation will be another important measure to do to improve that. Now, I would say this is 2 different issues. The one issue is China tried to bring himself a more balanced growth model, means more internal demand-driven models. As one study, less depends on exports and on investments. I think China can do that. And with this $4 trillion in hands, with massive investments in, and with among the $4 trillion, a lot of money in the healthcare, education, pension systems to release people concerned for the futures. And we will see consumption bring up. As our Prime Minister said yesterday, in the first day of Chinese New Year, the consumption jumped 20%. This is the indication that people really want to spend, people can spend. So still, that will take time. I think that's for China is okay, but overall, as I say, the total Chinese consumption is only $1.5 trillion. I mean, compared with the US dollar, $10 trillion is very small. And even this $1.5 trillion increase, 10-20%, is ended with $300 billion. $300 billion is a big number, but for the whole world pool, it's still relatively small. So I would say, still go back to the original point, China tried to do better for his own economy, bring a more balanced model. That's a bad thing for the world. But don't over and count China increase domestic consumption will save the world. And I really don't think we'll be able to do that.
金融危机对于亚洲来说是一场危机，也是转变的号角，但这只是开始。感谢收看本期财经峰会。